Oops. Can't forget the mic. So, dark side posting tonight. We got the dark background. Crazy. Change it up a little, right? Something a little, well, we kind of missed Halloween this year, so maybe this will bring back some of that Halloween spirit as we get to Thanksgiving here pretty soon. What do I want to talk about? I wanted to talk about the, what can I, that was it. Best movies of all time. Movies that I would be stuck in a cabin with and want to have, right? So, of course, original Star Wars. And if we talk about TV series, of course, the Doctor Who with Tom Baker, right? That's like your sci-fi 1-2 punch right off the bat. I'd also throw in Manhunter, 1986, the original Hannibal Lecter movie. I'd throw in The Thing by John Carpenter, 1982. I'd throw in Conan the Barbarian with Arnold, way back, and I think that was also 82. Don't quote me on that. The Matrix. Let's see. If we're going to include TV series, of course, I'd probably put in Sherlock Holmes with Jeremy Brett and Agatha Christie's Poirot with David Suchet. I'd put in Twin Peaks for sure. What are we missing? Blade Runner with Harrison Ford. And, gosh, see, this is what happens when you don't write up lists like an autist. You just kind of do this stuff off the spur of your, off the cuff posting. Clash of the Titans, way back in 1981. I think I reviewed that recently. And what other good sci-fi we have? There's so much good stuff in sci-fi. You got Alien 1 and 2. What other? Let's think. Buck Rogers in the 25th Century with Gil Gerard. A lot of these movies are like very rewatchable too, which is the cool part. Pretty much anything Italian horror cinema by Dario Argento, including the Witch trilogy, which was awesome. It was like 3 semi-linked movies in which there's these the rich and powerful in different parts of the world are kind of like at least 3 of them are very powerful witches that go way back and are pretty much, you're not sure if they're immortal or not. And when people start finding out about them or discover too much, they tend to knock them off. And the main characters, I don't even think the main character is the same in all 3. There might be the main character is the same in 2. I kind of forget though. Let's see. What else? Why am I drawing such a blank here? There's so many goodies. Scary ones. Let's talk about horror for a second. Well, I'd probably put the remake of Dawn of the Dead, the one that came out with Ving Rhames. That's one of the few where the remake. I mean, everybody loves the classic, right? But it's kind of plotting, right? It's kind of like The Nobodies, and it's kind of a little bit plotting. But it was like way ahead of its time, the one by Romero. But the remake, that was a pretty strong remake. Even if some of the characters were kind of annoying, and it was a little bit like Hate the Rich, with the rich guy being kind of a whack job. But let's just say there's some karma in the movie. And what other goodies here? I guess the actual Silence of the Lambs with Jodie Foster isn't bad. It's a command performance by the Hannibal Lecter there, and it's not as good as the Manhunter from '86. Doesn't have the mind game as much. It starts to get it, and you have a little flash of the magic, right? And the bad guy is really out there, right? So that's a little bit like, I think if that movie had stuck less with Jodie Foster and more with what that bad guy was up to when he's not just, hanging out at home admiring himself, that might have been like a really great movie. It was like it's like a kind of a solid movie, and it's a little bit, I mean, it's over the top, awesome at the end. It's like no one saw that coming, but it was like really, it had the chance, it had a flash of the magic to be really great, and like Manhunter has flashes of the magic way more than that movie. The Manhunter pretty much has it sustained from like the second third of the movie to the third third of the movie. It's just like whoa. And let's see here. Um, that's my list so far. I'm gonna think about this and maybe do a second list. But there's just there's really not too many super high quality like that I'd really put on that short list. Resident Evil actually is a movie that's like technically not that great a movie. Like the acting's a little kind of out there, but it is. Despite that, it is like vastly entertaining in the fact that it has like a crazy concept, and I think like as more movies are made about video games, I think you're gonna have those like really cool concepts kind of filter into film. If it isn't, if they can hold off, the wolf pack of social justice stuff, right, and make movies. I mean, there's a strong female character, Mila Jovovich, right, and but wow, that the whole thing with like the Red Queen, the evil computer program, trying to just basically eliminate all the intruders. That's just dynamite. You could do that. I'll watch any number of movies with that kind of like plot. That's just awesome sci-fi. And where they mix sci-fi with horror, then it's like, oh man, that's like awesome squared, right? And kind of spooking myself with this dark side posting. Like, so hopefully there's nobody back there, right? I can't see anything myself. And you gotta be careful, right? Um, what are some of the others? I don't know if it was Argento, but whoever did Demons, that Italian horror movie, that was a good concept too. The concept there that like you're messing around in a crypt and you get like a cut on your hand from some cursed artifact, and then like let's just say you don't get better too fast, you get a lot worse pretty fast, right? And if you scratch or bite somebody, then they're anyway, you know where this is going. You know where I'm going with that, right? And the Italian horror, you got to realize it's not for the faint of heart. You're gonna see a lot of like splashes of blood and this kind of stuff. Like you don't want to watch it with like mom and dad or anything, but it is vastly entertaining. And like, there's a collection of horror films. I don't know where my friend got it, but it has all that stuff like Lucci and like Argento. And there was a great zombie movie like that. Very few people have seen. This really crazy called Nightmare City. Right, check that out. And it's something to do. It's kind of like it's one of these films. It's like when you really step back and you look at it, it's kind of anti-atomic power because it's something to do with radiation causes the zombies, and it's not slow zombies. I won't ruin it any more than that. But it's like fast zombies and smart zombies, and like oh man, it is like, and it's a period piece, right? It's like 70s or 80s when the aerobics phase was going. So like there's a video being filmed of like all these hot chicks in aerobics leotards and this outfit that was, very iconic kind of 80s aerobics outfits, like little leggings, poofy leggings around your ankle and kind of like leotards that are made of nylon. I don't see that these days. These days it seems to me like the gym scene is dominated by like CrossFit and like, I mean, it's so steroided out now. It's like out of control. But it's like back then it was more like, women still, it was before a fat ass became a big booty, right? Like, I don't know what year that was, 1991. But you got to realize before 1991, like it was bad for a woman to have a big fat ass. Like that was like bad. Like rock stars would not be dating chicks like with big booties and stuff like you see rappers and stuff now. And this is kind of interesting culturally, right? I know maybe I'm getting old, just do army, but like before that, the girls that were with rock stars, and this is before rock was somehow killed off. I don't know how they killed off rock and roll. Maybe it's some kind of like kooky anti-white racism. I don't know, but like there were these like white rock stars going around with like these really skinny, tight blondes, and they would wear like sunglasses and captain's caps and bikinis and stuff in their videos, and it was like totally awesome. But I remember, like, there was a thing in high school, like, you know, a girl. I went to an all boys high school, so we didn't have girls, so it wasn't really an issue. But like other friends of mine that were going to like the regular high school, um, let's just say that like it wasn't a good thing to have a fat ass or to be thick back then. Like that was like a fat ass didn't mean like, oh wow, look at her, she's got a fat ass, that's awesome. The fat ass was like, oh damn, she's got a fat ass, like no way, you know. And it's just amazing how the same English can have different meanings, right, nowadays. And that's kind of like what's like ruining things. It's like people put all this oppression BS and all this like offense into like the same English phrases that people have been using to mean like, you know, either good things or like not, you know, not be that much of a deal, just kind of ribbing you about it. But now everybody wants to like sue you for it and stuff, and it's like that's bad. You know, all this hate crime legislation, that's bad. That's like real evil communism, and it's got to stop because it's stopping fun, and it's like it's just making like parasitical lawyers rich, really, which is sad. It's a form of like control too. Like if you really talk about like 1984 and the bankers controlling everything, like that's like really bad, right? So anyway, instead, you know, today you'd say, hey, she got a fat ass. And like, that would be like, oh man, you know, she's got a great butt. I'd love to like, you know, do whatever to her. And, you know, we're just keeping things light here. We're not like being too sexual, YouTube, you know, Nazis or whatever, YouTube regulators. This is not racism. This is just like cultural differences. What I'm trying to point out here in my indirect little way is that in the 80s, and how this has to do with the horror movies, I do not know, but like in the 80s, a skinny little tight butt was like the optimum. It wasn't like a big round, you know, fake implant booty or like whatever steroid, you know, squats booty with a liposuction small middle like it is now. And I forgot why I was bringing up the whole butt thing. I don't know how that. We're talking about Resident Evil. I'm getting old, man. I'm like, but I had a big day and I had a root canal the other day, so I'm kind of like still like in and you know I'm taking a lot of naps. Let's put it that way. So you're kind of groggy, and all the blood's flowing to the stomach because I just had some pizza. So, you know, these are the things. You know, you don't want these like YouTubes to be too like canned, right? So these are just off the cuff. But that's a great list of movies that if you track them all down, you really like them. Ooh, before I forget, the Margaret Rutherford Agatha Christie movies. There's four of them, and then a fifth where she's like not credited, but there's four. Those are gold. It's just like a really old, funny English lady who makes, you know, funny facial expressions when she says stuff, and all the English is in it is so great, and it's the classic mystery, right? So it's a great plot. What else? What else? Quick before my 15 minutes gets up here. What else would I want to watch? We've covered a bit of horror, a bit of sci-fi. See, I don't think any of the X-Men movies or Marvel movies are that great to keep on a desert island to have on a little disc. Those are like, yeah. Uh, Boy, I'm just like drawing a blank here. See, like there's so much bad stuff. It's like tough to even da, da, da. What other series? We covered Buck Rogers, covered Star Trek, and Doctor Who with Tom Baker. And those are like, you know, many, many episodes of those series. So those will keep you busy, right? As well as the Sherlock Holmes. I'm about to watch a series I haven't seen called Sherlock Holmes with Basil Rathbone, which is another actor that supposedly was awesome. And even earlier than the Jeremy Brett, that was really good. And then, you know, the one in the 2000s was just garbage by that, like, basically ugly, weird-looking inbred guy who was like Khan in the remake of Star Trek that was like so bad. I forget his name. But avoid that stuff. That's like, you know, poison, like rotten food. Don't take a bite. And we did Blade Runner, the aliens. Help me out. Oh yeah, the Terminator with Arnold is a good one. Total Recall with Arnold is actually cheesy, but it's good. If they had cleaned that up a bit, it could have been like really, really good. But they kind of made it. It was like really like suspension of disbelief, like over the top. But it was like in the beginning, it was really good. And the part with the psychologist or psychologist, or psychiatrist, whatever it is, that was the magic. Like if you watch Total Recall and you see that scene with Sharon Stone, Arnold, and the psychologist, that is what I mean by real science fiction, the real mind game, because they come close to convincing him that he's his own worst enemy, kind of thing. and that's like really that's something you'll hardly ever see on film. That's just awesome. But anyway, that's my rough sketch of the best movies. Check them out. You will not be disappointed. And TV series.